Bitcoin will reach $180 to $220,000 in 2025. This we need to do a flashback to last week's charting, proving that this method works and give you some insight into its functionality with Rune. For those of you who are unfamiliar with this project, its value is based in Bitcoin and Ethereum's value. So when you see the two running upwards and Rune has remained stagnant, this is a great opportunity to pick up on that price momentum using the Rune token. We gave a call out at 7 and some change inside our Patreon. Let's check out how we found the top of this Rune breakout using our technical analysis method. Looking at the Rune chart in specifically, we also have massive runway until we get to right around $12. So everybody involved in a Rune leverage trade or a Rune spot trade, keep your eye on the chart once we start passing 1150. See if we have enough momentum in Bitcoin and Ethereum to keep moving upward. Bitcoin and Ethereum started slowing down once Rune was around 11 and some change, thus signaling this was the correct time to sell our position, netting in a healthy profit. This exact charting technique and use it on the Bitcoin chart, and we're going to get a very accurate read at 180 to 220,000 on Bitcoin. It all starts out with this control line in purple. As we can see, this was not only holding us back all throughout the run up to $30,000 during the bank collapse narrative, this trend line was actually all the way back originally in 2019, and it marked the top of the peak in 2021. Another note to make is we can see this broadening wedge with these two repeating trend lines of both purple and gold, and this appears again right here, both of these right before a halving event. Now this purple trend line thus is our control into the 2025 peak of Bitcoin. Following this purple line all the way up to mid 2025, we end up with a price of around $120,000 Bitcoin. We've broken on top of this control line now. So we're going to set a Fibonacci pitch on top of it. And this is where all the magic happens. You'll finally realize how amazing this technical analysis truly is. Zooming in on the 1 hour, we take our angled Fibonacci and we place it directly on it. And what we noticed was that we stopped right on the golden pocket. Here's where the magic happens. Once we zoom out on this Fibonacci pitch, we can see that it lines up with all the historic price action. Not only that, the top of it hits exactly on that prior 2019 purple trend line, these repeating trend lines. This is the nature of origin trend lines. It's a technical analysis that's unique only to cryptocurrency because stocks don't have halvings. They don't have strict emission schedules. So it doesn't send these ripples throughout the charts. Once we identify these, we can get massive insight into the candle's movement. Particularly, we were dropping the date March 17th. That's because the previous all-time high and the golden pocket intersect on that. Thus, we realized Bitcoin would most likely stop its breakout right there, and then some of that liquidity would spread into altcoins. It appears that the entire market has taken a pause instead. Looking forward, using this exact tool, this is how we get the range of $180,000 to $220,000. Let's think logically here. The halving hasn't even happened yet, and we're already challenging the golden pocket of a Fibonacci level. Once the supply gets cut in half in like another 45 days, the candle can absolutely start challenging these higher levels, the blue, the red, the purple, on this Fibonacci pitch, which is where we're getting the $180,000 to $220,000 Bitcoin in 2025. Now, if you're interested in learning this charting technique, we have a full library inside the Patreon group, as well as we're doing massive fundamental research. Let's talk about gem hunting right now, because I know we're all doing it, and we're going to drop some names like AKASH and Chlor AI. If you guys have heard of any of those projects, we're going to get into that in a second. So in 2021, Solana came in late on the scene in the fall and then had a monster run to the upside. Now, while we're gem hunting, a lot of us are just looking on the exchanges. we're going, oh, we can find something good. But if we start thinking logically, if something's been on an exchange for over 90, 120 days and it's something good, it's probably already 5x from now. That diminishes its chances of giving us a 50x yield, which would thus categorize it as a true gem. So what we're looking into is cryptos that haven't even been listed on the exchanges yet. During our search, we found a narrative that ties in with Clore AI and Akash. This is the DePIN narrative. A lot of these new listings, a lot of these monster VCs, which is another one of our tactics, is we track these really good VCs like Polychain Capital. They funded Caspa, they funded TIA, they funded BitSensor, TAO ticker. They're behind all of that. So anything they're in on, we're fairly interested in getting in on with Polychain Capital, particularly if we can get it on the first day of the listing. Let's break down Akash and how they had a massive run up. So originally, there was a crypto known as Zeph, and this was starting to gain massive popularity. Interestingly enough, you could rent out Akash GPUs for 20 cents and mine Zeph for 25, netting you a healthy profit. Somebody released exactly how to do this on Twitter, and this tactic and method went extremely viral. So now everybody all over the place was using the Akash Network to rent GPUs to mine Zeph for an arbitrage profit. Once the dust settled from this, the Akash Network ended up rocketing to the upside. And this is a DePIN narrative. We can see a very similar result for Clore AI. And a lot of these monster VCs are jumping in on DePIN projects right now. Now, DePIN is extremely complex. There's 6 total major branches. It ranges everything from Filecoin and Akash computations all the way to Helium and some of these Wi-Fi wireless map projects. Crypto isn't just threatening the US dollar and currency as we know it, it's also threatening the entire United States stock market. President Biden, on March 13th, right when Bitcoin was making its new all-time high of 73K, he proposed a new mining bill that would tax miners inside America, holding back the industry on our shores. The week before, Coinbase, of all people, started fritzing out right when Bitcoin was testing the 70K mark. This reminds us all of GameStop with the Robinhood shutdown, preventing retail from driving the price even higher. So we know that the buyers are here. But right now, doing all these studies into white paper and new releases, it's starting to become very clear that the stock market itself is beginning to get challenged. Taking a look at some of the people that are backing the projects that are about to get released, they aren't just your traditional crypto VCs anymore. It's the stock market coming over to here. These are the top 3 reasons why. You guys all know who Chamath is. Excuse me if I'm not pronouncing his name correct, but he got famous for doing IPOs. What IPOs do is they allow crowdfundings for stocks, because one of the most difficult things for these stock market guys is to get all the money together to launch a project. With crypto, obviously, it's even better than an IPO. You can do crowdfunding, different business entities can all team up, and it's decentralized. It's great. The second biggest perk that jumps over the stock market with leaps and bounds is there's no more CEOs, because with a stock, you've got to give these guys in suits with Harvard degrees the ability to control the money. And the first thing they always do is they start paying themselves way too much. Warren Buffett would actually be in on this if he understood crypto more, because they're actually cutting the CEOs out. Now they have these decentralized governance boards and stuff. They run the whole show with NFTs. And the third reason is the growth. So typically with a stock, you got to hire people in that company, you got to vet them, and then you pay them. They may or may not perform well. But with crypto, they do these hackathons and these bounties, and it's all a decentralized growth. So anybody with a skill set can jump on board. This is going to play particularly well into Miria, with Alex Becker and his Neo Tokyo group. It's everybody who's creative, who can build a game, is finally going to get a chance to compete with the big boys. So cryptocurrency is muscling its way into the world at astronomical rates. And through the study, the reading of the white papers, the doing the 24-point checklist on all of these new, unlisted, potential real 50x gems, because remember, you got to go for innovative technology. Ask yourself, is this a cut, copy, paste from something we've got 10 more of? Or is this something that's really changing the way we're doing business? Because that's what we focus on in our group. We're getting ready to diversify away from Caspa after its next leg up. You know, we're assuming it's going to be somewhere between $3-5, somewhere around that narrative. And of course, jumping in on a new project shows us a potential more upside. So for any of you guys who are Caspa maxis, who respect what we're talking about with these innovative world-changing technologies, you might want to consider checking out our group, because we're hunting for gems right now, and everybody gets a 24-page report weeks before they're even listed on the exchange, so you can go and hem and haw and make a decision that you can stand behind and thus apply capital to your picks. Thanks for checking out this video. We'll catch you on the next one.